Hey guys, it's me, Andrew Minute, Mark Lutz again. I'm back here for another video again. Been a hot minute. A lot of life's been going on with everything going on. I had a 24-hour stay up yesterday along with a 7-hour drive. Um, so, and that's on top of everything. So, like, I was up from, like, I think 4 a.m. yesterday till 4 a.m. and then, like, didn't get home till 10:50. So like I was up for a good bit. I've been doing a lot, and then on top of that, the week prior was holidays, and work just got way too busy to really reasonably record videos. So I'm gonna do this video today, where supposedly a pastor is saying that King David and Jonathan were gay. Which, oh joy, let's see this one.
There's a progressive Christian on TikTok who calls himself Skeptic Pastor, and he thinks that King David and Johnathan, son of King Saul, might have been a gay couple. Let's have him explain.
Have you ever heard that
King David and Jonathan. Okay.
King David and Jonathan from the Bible were gay or bi? Hi, I'm
No,
Jeremy. I'm a deep
actually,
skeptic.
actually, I have heard this before. This has been brought up to me, and I completely disagree for a multitude of reasons.
Also a pastor. I remember the first time somebody
But
told
I
me
want to
this
give
about
him
David and
credit, so let's
Jonathan,
look up
and
his
I was
version,
an
his verse,
evangelical, and I was
and
super
look
angry
into
and
it.
offended, and I kind of ignored what they said. Then a couple of years.
And when I got this brought up to me, I was just confused, and I was like, I don't think that means what you think it means. I would really like you to cite me the verses so that way I know what it is.
Later, somebody said the same thing to me, and I realized I needed to look into it. I needed to figure out what they were talking about. And I looked into this Bible verse, and I went into it just saying, okay, this is not a thing. There's no way this could possibly be a thing. And then I read this verse, and this Bible passage, I mean, let me read it.
Here we go again.
Uh
Another scandalous
oh.
ex-evangelical thinking he's discovered something very profound.
Man, my guy's got some harsh tug on these people. I don't blame him, but man, he's got a harsh tug for him.
These guys always think they're being so open-minded and clever when really they just refuse to stand for anything. And if you honestly think
I'd
that
agree to
David and
that.
Jonathan were gay lovers, you've completely lost the plot. You have no
True.
idea what you're talking about. But of course, let's allow Mr. Skeptic Pastor to present his so-called biblical argument.
All right, so I am, of course, reading from the New Revised Standard Updated Edition. That is the version of the Bible that scholars say is the
New Revised Standard Updated Version. Got
most
it.
accurate, and definitely want to have accuracy here.
Pause. This right here shows his biblical illiteracy. No, scholars do not unanimously agree that the NRSV Updated Edition is
Typically, the one that like language scholars use is the Blue Letter Bible, which contains both the Greek and the Hebrew. And then on top of that, scholars will then usually use like an ESV, a NIV, an NASB. I'm trying to remember. There's like 3 other versions that they also use when they're looking at things and citing things. So yeah, that's just false. Like no scholar like completely agrees that only use the NRSV, which yes, I do believe some actually do use the NRSV too. A lot of them though, like if they're a language scholar, they're using blue the Blue Letter Bible, which contains like the Greek and the Hebrew. If they're et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot.
the most accurate translation. Plenty of respected scholars prefer other versions or compare multiple ones. So he
No.
just made that up. Anyway, back to the video.
Here's the verse. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 18. It says, when David had finished speaking to Saul, the soul...
1 Samuel chapter 18. Okay. Let me go look this up. 1 Samuel 18. Okay. Don't want that one. He is using the NRSV. That's anglicize. Where is this one? Hold on. Which one?
Biblical illiteracy. No, scholars do not.
New Revised Standard Updated Edition. That is the version of the Bible.
New Revised Standard Updated Edition.
He loved him, then him as his own of Johnathan. Here it is. Here's the verse. It's in first.
Okay. So new. Da, 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 da. Sorry, it's taking a minute because on the site I'm using, there it is, updated edition. Okay, cool. Let's read it, and it's 1 Samuel chapter 18. Cool.
Samuel.
I've got it pulled up.
Chapter 18. It says, "When David had finished speaking to Saul, the soul of Johnathan." Here it is. This is part. "The soul of Johnathan was bound to the soul of David, and Johnathan loved him as his own soul."
Okay, that's not.
Saul took him that day. And
I already got a problem with this. I already got a problem with this. Oh!
Covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. Johnathan stripped himself of the robe that he was wearing and gave it to David, and his armor, and even his sword, and his bow, and his belt. That's the verse.
Someone needs to tell
I was about to say, yeah, this is called being, oh boy. I'll let him finish, and then I'm going to get into this.
Pastor that reading the scriptures through the lens of gay fan fiction isn't Bible study.
Agreed! And that's the problem. When you read it through that stupid lens, you're going to get a really, really weird view.
Let's break this down. David, God's anointed future king, and Johnathan, the son of King Saul, were countrymen and fellow soldiers. Johnathan defeats the Philistines in 1 Samuel 14, and David similarly defeats Goliath in 1 Samuel 17. So when Johnathan pledges loyalty to David in 1 Samuel 18, which is the passage in question, it's completely normal. David just saved his entire country. So let's look at the language.
Yeah, this is, I was about to say, this is literally an oath bond is what this is. This is like you declaring an oath to somebody and saying, I will fight for you for the rest of my life after what I've seen and testified you to. When he says he's torn off his robe, he's torn off everything, he's still in like, he said, yes, I have laid myself bare before you because as a brother I believe in you so wholeheartedly. This is like, you can read this in like, this is like a common practice of ancient cultures and a lot of different cultures when like someone like swears oath even to like what I think like it was some kings in Babylon would require like their true guard to like basically like strip themselves bare and then be like yo, and it wasn't in a sexual way, it was just I have laid myself and my body down bare for you, I will now fight for you for the rest of my life, I will give my own life for yours. That's the kind of bond and blood that he's doing. This is like you having like, if you've ever had that bro friend, that guy friend that you'd do anything for, that is what's happening here, okay? That's what's going on. That's what's happening here. It's not anything gay related.
Verse 1 says that Jonathan's soul was knit to David's. The Hebrew word for knit is kashar. It means to bind, join, strengthen, or even form an alliance.
Yep.
It's the same word that Jacob uses for his son, Benjamin.
And this is why you help use the Blue Letter Bible, because that's what he's doing here.
in Genesis 44:30, obviously not inherently sexual, right? Then we read that Johnathan loved David as his own soul. The word for love here is ahav, and it's used for Abraham's love for his son Isaac in Genesis 22:2.
Let's go!
Covenant affection, not romance. But what about Johnathan giving David his robe, his armor, sword, bow, and belt? That's not intimacy, it's honor. In the previous chapter, 1 Samuel 17:38, King Saul offers David his armor too. Are we supposed to assume that Saul is making a sexual move as well? Of course not. It's a royal gesture of respect. Esther 6:10-11 gives the same cultural pattern. The king honors Mordecai by giving him his royal robe and his horse. So there is nothing sexual in any of this, the language, the context, or the culture. There isn't hidden romance, it's just covenant loyalty and royal symbolism. But progressive Christians will still try to make everything gay. They just can't help themselves. But what Skeptic Pastor does next goes even further off the rails.
They were bound, soul to soul. And then there's this moment where Johnathan takes all of his clothes off. He is completely naked and gives all the clothes to David and all the armor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a complete lie. Johnathan removed his outer garment. He was not fully naked. Like everyone in this culture, he still wore undergarments, just like Peter was stripped for work.
I was about to say.
21:7,
yeah.
Until he put his outer cloak back on.
I was about to say.
Suggests that Johnathan was fully undressed. That idea is pure imagination.
Yeah, because usually in the Hebrew, when it'll say nakedness. Like, they have a pretty blatant word for nakedness. It didn't say, like, to be laid bare is not the same as nakedness because it's different words in Hebrew. To be laid bare is basically to strip yourself down to, like, your undergarments and to be like, okay, cool, this is where I'm at. But to fully reveal yourself is a different thing.
Once again, notice that progressive Christians seem desperate to inject gay fan fiction into this passage. They simply can't help themselves. And now watch as Skeptic Pastor invents even more nonsense to prop up his fabricated story.
Oh, joy.
So when I read that, back in my days of being completely brainwashed by evangelicalism, I was shook. I was like, WTF, like, what is happening here? And I started doing research, and it's not clear. Like, if you look for scholars and you ask them this question, the scholars will say, like, we just don't know. We don't have.
I mean, we do know. It's called read the Hebrew, and you see the word that they use for it. That's what it is. I'm also trying to. I got told that there's a verse where they kiss. Ah, there it is. Okay, so it's 20. So it is in this. Okay. We're gonna swap to this one because I want to read this entire thing. That's going on here because this is the one that I had cited to me, so I want to get into this a bit. And I'm reading the same version he's reading, but you already have context of a deep bond of friendship, right? The friendship of David and Solomon. It's even, by the way, titled The Friendship of David and Johnathan. So, you know, interesting. Okay, so we're going to skip down just a bit. Obviously, I'm going to slow scroll so everybody can read. Okay. Something has befallen him, he is not clean, surely he is not kind. But on the second day of the new moon was placed empty. His place was empty, and Johnathan said to and Saul said to his son Johnathan, why does the son of Jesse not come to the feast of either yesterday or today? David only asked me to leave and go to Bethlehem, he said, for me to let go Let me go, for our family is holding a sacrifice in the city, and my brother has commanded me to be there. So now I have found favor in your sight. Let me go away and see your brothers for this reason. I think it's like 40, where it said. Hold on. In the morning, Jonathan went out into the field to the appointment with David, and he was a little, and with him was a little boy, and said to the boy, "Run and find arrows that I shoot." The boy ran away, and he shot arrows beyond him. The boy came to a place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, and the boy called after the boy, and said, "Is the arrow not beyond you?" And the Jonathan called him, "Boy, hurry, and not linger." See, this is the passage. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Um, as the boy gave his weapons to the boy and said, "Go and carry them to the city." As soon as the boy had gone, David rose from beside the stone heap and prostrated himself face to ground. He bowed 3 times, and they kissed each other and wept with each other, and David wept more. See, this kissed here, though, if you use the word for the kissed here, I'm pretty sure this is the same kissed use that Abraham uses as a greeting when he's greeting his sons or when he's greeting his brotherly siblings. This isn't a sexual kiss. Um, and I know that for a fact because of the fact that, as well, in many other cultures in the Middle East, by the way, it was a common practice to kiss the sides of the cheek. It's also a practice in France, Italy. Many cultures have it. It's an ancient cultural practice of greeting. Um, And then they wept with each other, and they wept more. And then Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, since both of us sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, 'The Lord shall be between me and you, and between my descendants and your descendants forever.'" He got up and left, and Jonathan went into the city. This is very obviously not sexual. This is an oath bond. This is again further showing of a brother. This is a brotherly confession of, this is bromance. This is what this is. This is us being like, "Bro, I missed you. Holy crap, it's been a while." Giving yourself the huge pats on the back. And then in this case, it's even deeper than that, because it's basically saying, I'm gonna hold your back forever. I forever will watch with you. Shall be between me and you, between my descendants and your descendants forever. I would need to look into this line a little more. Because I'd need to further process this line, but I'm pretty sure that's the kind of bond they're being. Either that, or it's basically saying that, hey, we're cutting off ties. We can't, due to your father, I cannot be hanging around you anymore. And that we're burying the hatchet here. Is what is happening here. That's the only two things that I can think of. But in no way is this situation sexual. Yeah. Especially because you have this bowed 3 times and then they kissed. That's not sexual in any connotation at all. That's very, 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 very different. Yeah. 100%. Okay. Cool. Awesome. That's gonna be it for this video. I just wanted to kind of get into that because it was kind of interesting to me, and I wanted to dig into this a little further. Very obviously to me, this is just like bros being bros back in the old days. Like, this is kind of how brotherly bonds were showed between people who weren't actual physical brothers. It's different now in our culture, and it's different there in their culture. Wow, shocker. It's almost like cultural context is important for situations to understand a very old and ancient text telling a story about something. Who knew? That aside, catch you all later. Yeah, catch you all later. God bless. Remember to like, subscribe.